For this lesson, we're going to go ahead and work on InDesign Classroom in a Book Chapter 9, which is all about working with styles. As usual, you'll start with Canvas, go to InDesign Classroom in a Book Chapter 9, and grab that zipped file. I've already downloaded it to my desktop. I'm going to hit my right click and do Extract All in order to open those files up. So when we look in those files, we go ahead and we see we've got an end and a start file. We're going to go ahead and start with our start file today. First thing we're going to do is go to View, Display Performance, and do High Quality Display. So it gets nice crisp images there. And then we're going to go ahead and do a File, Save As, and let's go ahead and call this one 09 Styles. Make sure you're in your Lesson 9 folder and push Save. Styles are a great way to create a really uniform, consistent look throughout your publication without having to do a lot of individual formatting. You definitely want to learn how to apply these throughout your entire publication. So one of the first things we're going to do is create a paragraph style. With a paragraph style, you're going to apply that style to everything within a particular paragraph itself. So let's go ahead and go to our Pages menu, and let's go ahead and go to page 2. On page 2, we want to go ahead and style this loose leaf tease. So we're going to grab our text tool and highlight loose leaf tease. We're going to go ahead and go to the top. Instead of 12 points, we're going to go ahead and make this 18 points. So a lot bigger. And we want to change the color. So we'll go up here to our fill box. And let's go ahead and make it the burgundy. Just kind of this reddish color down here at the bottom. And we want to play with the paragraph controls as well. So under the A, we're going to hit this paragraph formatting controls right underneath. And we want to change the space before, which is right here, and the space after. So the space before, we want it to be P03, 0P3, and space after, right here where it says 9, we want to go ahead and make that 4 instead. So I'm going to go ahead and click out on my pasteboard, and you see how now I've got a little bit of space automatically put in around that title itself. So let's go ahead and make that into a paragraph style. Let's go ahead and make sure it's still selected. We're going to go to Type and Paragraph Styles. And we want to create a new paragraph style. So let's go here into our panel and hit New Paragraph Style as an option. We want to go ahead and call this Head 2. Now, we notice that this is based on the intro body style because that's what was applied. We want to go ahead and change it to No Style. So down here to No Paragraph Style. Alright, and the next style, we do want it to be intro body. So we want to say after you do this style, automatically choose this other one as well. And we can go ahead and choose to make it a shortcut key. So if you wanted to have a shortcut, say the Control A to select all, we can create a style shortcut. So let's go ahead and hit Shift and the number 9 in here. Shift and 9. And you have to do it on the numeric keypad. And now we have a shortcut. So I'm going to go ahead and say apply the style to the section. And we don't want to add it to our CC library, so we're unchecking that. And we're going to go ahead and say OK. So now we have in our paragraph styles, we have a headline that appears in body text that's a headline 2. But we really want it to be organized with our heads. So we can click and hold and drag it up so it appears between our other heads in our paragraph styles. So once again, being an organized designer is always very important. I'm going to go ahead and deselect all, click on my pasteboard, and do a Control S to save what I've got so far. Alright, let's go ahead and scroll over to the other page and play with T gift collections. We're going to go ahead and apply a paragraph style here. So we're going to go ahead and click on T gift collections. Because it is a paragraph style, we do not have to select what we want. Go ahead and grab our head to and apply it. We're going to do that to teapots and accessories as well. So we've got a couple different things going on here. Now you'll notice that my loose tees isn't red the way I want it to be. So I can go ahead and double click and let's go to basic character formats. It's not there. Let's go ahead and look at some of the other items we've got in here. We've got advanced, we've got some indents, some tabs. Let's go ahead down here to character color, and we want to make sure that it is that burgundy. And we're going to say OK. And now, because we had the style selected, everything that was black that was a head to is now automatically the burgundy. So you can see how this works in your favor. Alright, so let's go ahead and create some character styles. Character styles apply to certain letters, not necessarily the entire paragraph. So let's go back over here to page 2. And let's go ahead and do type and character styles. So we pop open that panel. Words we're going to style today are Expedition Tea Company. So I'm going to grab my text tool and grab Expedition Tea Company with the trademark and highlight that. I'm going to go back up to my character controls over here on the left and hit the A. And I want to make it small caps instead. So that's over here, kind of by where your leading size is, so small caps. And I don't want it to be black, I want to make it khaki, the kind of the green instead. So I'm going to go to my fill and choose the one that starts with C43 and make it kind of the blue instead. So now that we've formatted the text the way we want to, we can create the style and base it on what we've just created, which makes it a little bit easier. So I just clicked off so you could see it. I'm going to go ahead and reselect what I've got. I'm going to go ahead and double click. I want to click this new style, this little post-it at the bottom of character styles. And notice how it says character style, but it didn't open anything up. If I double click it, it will open that for me and I can change it. My style name is going to be called company name. And if we want to, we can create a shortcut. Let's go ahead and make this number 8. So we're going to go Shift and number 8, and we've created another shortcut for that as well. So let's make sure that our basic character formats, we're okay. Character color, we've got the khaki selected, so it's everything that we based it on, and we're going to say OK. So now we want to go ahead and apply that character style. Where are we going to put it? We're going to go ahead and move it to that style over here onto this Expedition Tea Company over here on page 3. So I'm going to scroll over. I'm going to use my type tool, highlight the words Expedition Tea Company, and I'm going to go ahead and go over to my character style and hit the character company name. And notice how it automatically remembered all those elements for me, so I didn't have to go back and recreate all those different parts. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit on my pasteboard to deselect and do a Control S to save. So we can do a couple other things with styles. We can actually automate quite a bit. So we're going to see how to do that on the next couple pages. Let's go ahead and look at our next set of pages. And I'm going to go to View, Fit Spread in Window so I can see. Now as you'll see here, I've got kinds of teas, and I've got some colons, and I've got a thing that says what country they're from. We want to actually style each name of these and the country. And if you look at this page, there's an awful lot of them. It would be really a pain to go through and do this one at a time. So what you're going to do is create what's called a nested style. So we're going to use our type tool and highlight those words Earl Grey. And we're going to create a new character style from the panel menu. So up here, we want to make sure we've got our character styles. And I'm going to hit here. I want a new character style. And it's going to be called T name. Alright, so what do we want it to be? Let's go ahead and look at our basic character formats. We want it to be Myriad Pro. And we want it to be bold. And we're going to decide, okay, we want this another color too. So let's go down to character color. And let's go ahead and grab the khaki, the greenish one that starts with a 43. We do not want to add it to our CC library. And that's all we need. So we're going to say OK. So now we've got the words Sri Lanka. We need to style those as well. We have to establish the styles before we can create the nested style. So for Sri Lanka, we want to make it italics. So let's go ahead and use our character panel down here. And we want to go ahead and on our character panel, the letter A, we want to go ahead and make it italics instead. So now it's italic. Let's go ahead and go up to our character style now that we have established what we want it to be. And we can do a click on the new character style. You see we got character style 1. Let's double click it. And we're going to go ahead and call that country name. Alright, so now we have our look at it, we see that it is based on italics. And that's all we need to do for that one, so we're going to say OK. Go ahead and do edit, deselect all, or click out in your pasteboard. So now we could have to go through and do that and apply that for every single one of these, which is quite a bit. But there's actually a faster way to do it. So we're going to create what's called a nested style. So we're going to go into type. We're going to go to paragraph styles. Pop open that panel. Within there, we're going to go ahead and double click on T body. And we're going to create another rule. So we're going to go down here to the middle third-ish, where it says drop caps and nested style. And we want to create a new nested style. So what is our style rule going to be? So this is where we establish what the rule is going to say. Instead of none, if we do the drop down, we want to do it as T name. And instead of through, we want, and so look just what happened to all of your screen. All of those T names automatically became at least the first word that new style applied to. So we're going to go up through. So we don't want it to be just one word. We want to have a little bit more. And we want it to go up to, instead of words, we want to put colon. And when you click out, notice what happened. Automatically, all of those individual T names are now styled, and you don't have to go back and do a whole bunch of work, which is pretty amazing. We're going to add a second nested style to this one. So let's go ahead and close this for a minute, say OK. We want to go ahead and add this bullet character. So I'm going to go ahead with my type tool, highlight it, and I go edit, and I want to copy it because we're going to use that as another indicator as to what we're going to do. So let's go back into T body. Let's go back into our drop and nested styles. And we're going to create another new nested style. And in this one, we want to go ahead and tell it country name, up to, instead of through. We're going to leave this at 1, and instead of words, we're going to do Control V and paste in that bullet character. So now it will go do the italics up through all those individual elements. So everything is italicized, but we don't want to have these pair of colons to be italicized as well. So we kind of have to do one more thing to turn that part off. Let's go ahead back into our T body. nested styles, we're going to create one more nested style. This one is going to be called none. And what we wanted to do through two spaces, so 2, and we want to go up to the colon. But we want to have that be the second step it takes, so we move it up 1. So now if you look at your publication, you've styled your T name, your colons are now not italicized, but the names of your countries are. So that's pretty slick. Pretty easy way to style something really quickly all at once. So we're going to go ahead and say OK. So what are some of the other things we can create styles for? We can create a style for an object. So in this case, we're going to create a style for these ETP elements. Now this publication is laid out in layers. So we actually have ETP type and ETP circle on different layers, which makes it a little bit easier for you to style these all at once. So let's go ahead and lock the type layer on those ETP. I'm going to go ahead and select out so I don't have anything selected. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my selection tool and click that ETP symbol. I can do Control plus and zoom in a little bit on that, or you can grab your zoom tool. So what we want to do is play with that bullet there. We're going to go to Window and Color, and this time we want to grab swatches. And we want to go ahead and grab that khaki color, that greenish color, to make the bullets going to be that greenish as well. Then, with it still selected, we're going to go to Object. We're going to go to Effects. Effects is where you have a lot of different options on things you can do to your different elements. We're going to go ahead and play with a drop shadow. So notice how it automatically created that drop shadow, and we have control over what happens in this case. We want to turn the offset into 0.2, P2, for the X and the Y, because we want the shadow to be locked wider into our publication. And we're going to go say OK. So now we've got this subtle drop shadow, making our bullet pop off a little bit more. So now what else can we do with this? We know we've got a whole bunch of these ETPs, and we really don't want to go through and have to style every single one of those. So we can create an object style. So let's go to Window and to Styles, and let's go ahead and go to Object Styles. We're going to go ahead and do Alt and New, create new style, and it'll automatically open that box for us. And so instead of having to do the double click, we can go ahead and use Alt. It makes it go a lot faster. And we're going to call this ETP symbol. We want to apply the style to the selection, so that way it remembers. And we're going to go say OK. So now we can decide, okay, I don't like the color of that drop shadow. I want it to be something a little bit different. So I'm going to go to Object, Effects, and I'm going to go to my drop shadow. In my blending area right here, I've got my fill color, my shadow color. I'm going to go ahead and choose the red burgundy color instead and say OK. And you can play with the opacity if you wanted to make it lighter or darker. I'm okay with it being 75. So I'm going to say OK. So now we have changed the style. We know we've changed the style because when we look at the object style, it's got the little plus sign by it. So we need to tell it to redefine. We're going to go up here to our hamburger and go down a little bit and say redefine style. So now we have said, okay, instead of the black shadow, we wanted you to have a red. Alright, let's go ahead and deselect that. Do a Control S to save. And let's go to a View, Fit Spread, and Window. So you can see we've got a whole bunch of these ETPs still that we're going to have to go play with. So how can we do this all at once? Because this is built with layers, we can make it a little bit easier. One of the first things we're going to do is hide layer 1 by turning the eyeball off, which is all of the text in this case. we still have our type layer locked. So what we're going to do is with our selection tool, we're going to do a edit, select all. And notice how it highlights every single one of those ETP symbols that we've got. We're going to go ahead and go to our object style, and we're going to hit ETP symbol, and just with 2 clicks we've styled all of those different ETP symbols really simply. So this is why you want to make sure you're using styles throughout your publications. Alright, let's go ahead and click out. Let's go to our layers and turn our layer 1 back on so we can see what we've created. Alright, so one of the next things we want to play with is styles for tables. So let's go ahead and go to pages. I'm going to pull it down, and I can see at the bottom of page 3 I've got this table sitting here. It's kind of ugly, but we can make it better. So let's go ahead and grab our type tool and highlight this T and finished leaf boxes, because this is what we're going to style. Let's go up to table, up here at the top, and we want cell options. From cell options we want strokes and fills. We want to go ahead and leave the weight alone. We're going to leave the color here alone. We want to change the cell fill. So we're going to go here and pick kind of that pale yellowish tannish color. And I can have my preview on to show that this is what we're doing. Alright, so now with that we're going to say OK. With that still selected, we're going to go to Window, Styles, Cell Styles. And we're going to go ahead and create a new cell style. So we go to our panel menu. Remember, lots and lots of stuff's hidden under here. And do New Cell Style. And we're going to call this Table Head, because that's what we want to, that's the header is going to be that light yellow instead. And the style that we want to base it on is going to be Head 4, which is another style that we have established already for this publication. Alright, so now we want to click OK. So now we need to have a style for these other rows as well. So let's go ahead and highlight white and soft grayish white. From the Cell Styles panel menu, so we're here in Cell Styles, here's the panel menu. We want to go ahead and create new cell style. This time it's going to be Table Body Rows. And we want to base that style on Table Body. So it's something else we've already established. And we're going to go ahead and say OK. So now we can go ahead, click to our pasteboard, deselect all. It doesn't literally look like we've done a whole lot, but we really have. We just aren't there yet. So we're going to go ahead and, with our type tool, click anywhere in your table. Then we want to go to Window, Styles, go down to Table Styles. From here, we want to create a new table style, so of course it's the hamburger menu, New Table Style. And we're going to call this the T table. So with the T table, we know we want to do a few things. We want header rows. Remember, we made one that says Table Head. We don't need to worry about our footer. We don't have one, but we do have body rows. So let's go ahead and make it Table Body Rows. So we're telling it right now what we want it to do. Alright, let's go ahead and go to the Fills category. And we can play with a few more things. We want every other row to be white. So let's go ahead to go to our alternating pattern, and we want every other row. And the color we're going to make it is that pale yellow. And for tint, we want it to be 30%. So you do have control as to how dark it's going to be. Now I'm going to go ahead and push OK. So now you'll see my T table is now one of my samples, one of my available options for table styles, but still nothing happened. That's because we have not applied the table style yet. We've created it, but we haven't told it to work. So within our table, we're going to go to Table, select the table. So it selects everything. Let's go to our table style and say T table. I'm going to go ahead and select out here so you can see. And all of a sudden, everything is taken care of. You've got your alternating rows, you've got your header row. Everything was really simple, which we like. Alright, let's go ahead and push save, Control S for that one. So what if we want to change a style throughout the entire publication? Let's go ahead and go back to our page 4 that says black tea. And we can decide, okay, we want to change the way black tea is appearing. It's not working for us. So let's go ahead and use our type tool and select the entire words type black tea. We want to go up here into our character menu, and instead of being 15 point, we want to go ahead and make it 13. 13 is not one of our choices. 13 we actually have to type in. And so that's going to change that to 13 when we hit enter. So it's a little bit smaller. Then we want to go to type, and we want to go to paragraph. It's going to open that paragraph styles for us. And what we want to do is make a rule below. So remember, we need to go here and we want to go to paragraph rules. So you went into your hamburger menu and you want to go into paragraph rules. And it's going to say, okay, what do you want to do? We want to go ahead and make a rule below. We want to turn that rule on. So now we've got a line below. We want to make it 1 point, and let's go ahead and make it the burgundy color. The offset is going to be 0. If you move the offset, you can see how far away or how close that is going to appear to your actual letters. We want to go ahead and make it just 0. And now we have a line under black tea. But remember, this is a style, and so we need to make sure that we update this globally. So let's go ahead and go to type and go to paragraph styles. And notice our head 3 right now, which is what we had assigned for black tea, has got that plus sign. So remember, that means that we've made a change that's not happening everywhere. Go to our hamburger menu and do redefine style. And now you look everywhere in your publication that had that head 3, how has it as 13 instead of 15 point with that line underneath. So that's one of the great things about creating elements with a style. So maybe you created a style in another document. You want to be able to use it on this one as well. You can load styles from another document. I'm going to go ahead and close my table styles for now. Alright, let's go ahead to our pages. And I'm going to go ahead and look at page 2. We want to go to type and paragraph styles. We are going to go to our panel menu, the hamburger right here, and we want to load all text styles. It's going to say, okay, what do you want to load it from? So we want to load it from another publication. In this case, we want to load it from the one marked end. And we're going to say okay. It's going to say, okay, here's all the styles that are in this other publication. What do you want? Well, we've already got quite a few of these, so we're going to go ahead and tell it to uncheck all of them. The ones we do want to keep are drop body cap, this italic, and this drop cap, because that's the style that we don't want to have to necessarily go ahead and have to remake. So that's a great thing about this. So let's say OK. So now we have drop body cap has now been added to our paragraph styles. We're going to go ahead and add that drop body cap here to our first paragraph that says we carry. So because it's a paragraph style, I don't have to choose the specific word. I'm going to go ahead and hit drop body cap, and now I get this drop cap with a big W, which is pretty awesome. Now the only thing we didn't do was make a table style for there's a table back here on the back. So let's go ahead and go to our table, select table. We want to go to our window, Styles. We want a table style. And remember, we want to call it T table. So I'm going to click out, and all of a sudden it matches the other table that we've got earlier in this publication. So it's a lot of different things about styles. You've got to use styles throughout your publications. They will make your life so much easier. Alright, before you finish, make sure you have 0 errors. File, package. Go ahead and package it. Go ahead and save. Continue. First initial, last name. InDesign, Classroom in a Book, Chapter 9. Packaged. And package it. When you're done with that, you'll go back out to your folder. In your packaged file, right-click, Send to Compress Folder, and upload that one.